Now, my great-uncle taught me this song, and he had learned it from his grandfather. And I've never heard anybody else play it except people that are learning it maybe off my record. It come down through my family. And I'm quite fond of it because my great-uncle Art was a wonderful player. I wish I could play half the fiddle that he could. He was really great. I guess my great-grandfather wasn't such a great fiddler, but he was a good fiddler. But he didn't use a chin rest and his old violin, which one of his great-granddaughters gave to a flea market to sell. I'd have given anything for that fiddle, and she gave it to a flea market to sell. But it didn't have any chin rest on. He had chin whiskers. And it was so worn there, they said it couldn't be repaired. So she gave it to a flea market. You know, I'd just love to have kept it, just to have had his fiddle. This is a fiddle that was given to me. I do have my grandfather's fiddle. My daughter Diana has it. I don't like to see fiddles not played on. So when I get a hold of a fiddle, it generally gets in somebody else's hands fairly quick. Unless it's so bad shape that I hate, that, you know, afraid it'll go to pieces or something. All right, the Barns March. We'll come up for that now. Remember, it's the first part that's hard. You've got to hit those right on. But that really isn't hard to do either if you practice it. I know my great-uncle was teaching me that, and I'll do another one where I flick my fingers. I'll do the ferry reel. Now, the ferry reel was the tune that they used most in New York State for the Virginia reel, to dance the Virginia reel. Now, there is a tune called the Virginia reel, and there's the old Virginia reel. But when we did the taping of New York State fiddlers, that was one of the questions they were asked, what they played for the Virginia reel. And in every case, it was a ferry reel. They didn't play the tune in the Virginia reel. And I know my great-uncle played this for the dances. And way up in the northern part of the state, Charlie did up there, and Harold Benson, way down below Rochester, right square on down, almost the bottom of the state, he played the same tune. And that's what we found out. This was the tune most often used to dance the Virginia reel to. Tunes at the same time. And you see, I'd lost the end of a finger. Now what I did, I practiced so long and hard on those, flicking my finger. And I was flicking this finger at that time. And I hurt the bone inside, and I had a felony come on it because the injury was the bone and there was no opening. And I had to have the finger cut open and ripped all up here in order to get the poison out. And I did lose a pad on that finger. I'm glad it's not on this hand because that would have really... But this hand, it didn't bother me too much. And the doctor, after he got done operating the second time on it, he said, now what are you going to do about those tunes you're learning? And I said, I'll use my next finger. So if you see, I flick. Most people flick it with their first finger, but I flick it with my second because I lost my pad.
What position do you play harmonics in?
The Barnes March?
Well, the harmonics, on any tune, the harmonic, you play it in the 7th position, or can you play it anywhere?
I think it would be called the 7th position. I don't know. I really don't know that much about it.
Press down to the fretboard on it, or just lay your finger on it?
Oh, just very, very lightly. You hardly, barely touch the string. Would you like to have me come show you, or would you like to come up and I'll show you? Whichever way. This is how you touch a harmonic. You don't hardly touch the string at all.
If you're not in the right place, it won't sound
No.
really clear.
See, it's a lovely, clear high note, but you can't press your finger down to get a harmonic. And what it's doing is vibrating across your violin. That's what makes it such a clear note, is because you're getting a lot more notes than just that one. Oh dear. That sounded like the cat had somebody holding the cat's tail. Harmonics are lovely on the violin. At that, when we went to see Zach Perlman play, he played a whole part of a song on harmonics. He got harmonics all down in here. Well, I'm not that good. But you can get harmonics on almost any note on a fiddle if you're good enough to get them. You can play harmonics. And he played a full part of a song in harmonic.
That squeaking is the way I get it.
Oh. Well, the harmonics are a lot prettier on your open nose.
What do I play?
See, if this is a D, now this harmonic, this is also a D. And that's for the easiest to get our harmonic on those. They come in awfully handy sometimes when you want to get an E up here on the E string, and you don't get a real clear E with that weak little baby finger of yours. You can use a harmonic and you can get a real pretty note. So it comes in real handy. Any more questions? Anything anybody'd like to know? Any tune you'd like to hear? Oh, there must be people here that want to hear some.
Silver bells.
Silver bells? Oh, I love that. You picked out a good one. Devil's Dream? Oh, you want the Devil's Dream played on a devil box. I told them all about the devil box this afternoon. You wouldn't think that such a beautiful instrument would ever be accused of being a devil box, but it was. And I explained to the children this afternoon why. When people would load their violin bows up with rosin, and they draw it on their string, sometimes I always flick it out so I don't get so much on my fiddle. But see it raise?
Yeah, I see.
See the dust raise?
Yeah.
Well, they would start to play without flicking it out, and that dust would raise off the strings, and people thought it was smoke. Your New Englanders, the ones that burned the witches, you know, they would think that it was smoke, and so they called it a devil box and wouldn't allow it to be played in church. They wouldn't allow it to be played in church anymore because they thought it was smoking. They thought the devil was in there and he was putting up a little fire, you know, all of his own. first he had a dream, and then he jumped up. So the first one was the devil's dream, and that one was up jumped the devil. Oh, now. You don't really want that, do you? You want to make me work, don't you? You know, there's fiddling, and I am the traditional fiddler. And there's progressive fiddling. Now, there's a big difference. Your old-time fiddlers were always played on single strings, and they didn't get progressive. Now, a lot of people ask, what is the difference in fiddling today? You listen to records, and you hear a lot of progressive fiddling. Orange Blossom Special is progressive fiddling, and I'm not a progressive fiddler. But sometimes you play songs in self-defense. So can I play it for you in self-defense? Can I play it for you in self-defense? In other words, it's not one of my tunes, but I'll play it anyways. All right, it starts out like this. Does that sound like a railroad whistle to you?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't to me. I was a railroad kid, and I was brought up in a railroad town. From the time I was 2 years old until I was second year high school, I lived right near the DeWitt Yards in East Syracuse, New York. The second largest single terminal railroad in the United States. And there was a lot of trains around. And my dad was a railroad man, and 5 of my uncles worked on the railroad. So when I hear this, it's a lonesome sound to me. It meant my dad was going out on the railroad. He was going out on the road. I'm going down the wrong key. Excuse me a minute while I get ironed out. There. I don't know. It sounds funny to me.
It does.
It's certain in the wrong key. It's an awful thing you can't catch up. I know I play a little bit.
Excuse me a minute. This is an old Chinese tune that we're playing now. Tuning.